All right, we've got UFC 293 coming up. Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya in Australia. And it took me back to a time I'm thinking about it the other day. And since Izzy is one of the better kickboxers in mixed martial arts, probably the best kickboxer in mixed martial arts, it took me back to a time when high level kickboxers were first starting to make their way into MMA. And you have guys like Mark Hunt, Mirko Krokop, Semi Shield, even guys like Badar Hari tried to do, make their way into mixed martial arts. But of course, a lot of them did not have the requisite ground skills to compete with the highest level of grapplers, guys who were like Olympic wrestlers or even, good collegiate wrestlers or Russian wrestlers, things like that. Superb grapplers, jiu-jitsu guys. So what really happened at the end was you saw a lot of them, guys like Stefan Leko, being crushed, I remember, by Kazuhiro Nakamura, one of the better Japanese fighters to have come out at the time. Badar Hari got beaten by a forearm choke, like, just basic day one white belt shit. Guys like Sami Shield were more successful, had a decent ground game. I think even submitted a couple of guys. But when he came up against the high level grapplers, guys who were champions, things like that, it became a lot more difficult to implement their game, right? Like, because every time they would strike, they'd get clinched, get taken down, get beaten up on the ground. Like, considering, like, one of the worst beatings I'd ever seen was Sergey Kharitonov versus Semi Shield. So, kickboxers had a really rough time for the first couple of years. It was only when Mirko really got into MMA full time that guys like, okay, this is the way forward. This is how we gotta fight in mixed martial arts, right? Like changing a little bit stance, more heavy on the back leg, good ground defense, good takedown defense, excellent jiu-jitsu awareness. I mean, you get Fabricio Verdum to come teach you, like you're doing the right things. So I mean, and he went on to have a relatively illustrious career. Never really won a championship, but had superb fights along the way. Had some incredible wins, some devastating losses. By the time he got to the UFC, personally, I think he was a little too old and sort of like a little too spent. And had a decent fight with Eddie Sanchez and just got fucking shell shock sent back to fucking Croatia with a hellacious head kick by Gabriel Gonzaga, I mean, which he did get revenge for. In, I think Poland, if I'm not mistaken, was the event. He headlined that event. But Krokop, at the end of his career, did still manage to go out on a win. So, it showed that a high level kickboxer with that particular style could make it. Another one was Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's just a tough son of a bitch, big Samoan dude from New Zealand. So you could like Hunt as well had to learn takedown defense, had to learn how to wall walk and sort of really get good at the other aspects of mixed martial arts, right? Like to implement his powerful striking. And he's had his legal battles with the UFC, but at the end of the day, Mark Hunt is a striker, powerful, technical, fast. For his size, it was a sight to behold, and he almost even won a world title in the UFC. I think interim championship against Fabricio Verdum, where he got played with a little bit of kung fu treachery. But at the end of the day, Mark Hunt did have a couple of losses, bad losses, but he fought a lot of guys who were also on steroids. Brock Lesnar fucking comes to mind. So you can't discount his career. I mean, his run of bad fights at the end of his career. But guys like that, Mirko Krokop, Mark Hunt, those two, moving into mixed martial arts at a time when kickboxing was slowly, I wouldn't say phase out, but it was losing popularity. And I'm pretty sure mixed martial arts pays more than kickboxing, no matter what it is, right? Like, and even now, if you think about it, from the eight men's UFC champions, eight men's divisions, five of them are kickboxers, right? So you've got John at heavyweight, he's John Jones. Light heavyweight, it's Jamal Hill, who's primarily a kickboxer. Middleweight, Izzy. Welterweight, Leon Edwards, primarily a kickboxer. uh, Lightweight, Islam, is the prototype dominant grappler. Featherweight, Volkanovski, who's, yes, he's got insane ground skills, but primarily a kickboxer. Likes to do his work on the feet. And you don't beat Max Holloway three times and not be considered a great kickboxer, right? The guy who walks out to Hawaiian kickboxer. Bantamweight, Sean O'Malley. Just said in flyweight, you've got Alexander Pantoja. So, out of the eight men's divisions, five of them are kickboxers, and it's not like they don't have good ground skills. Although, like, out of all the five of them, they have three submission victories each. Wait, let me check my stats. Yeah, they have a combined submission record, all five champions of seven, right? Volkan Leon have both three submissions each, with Sean O'Malley having one. So Jamal Hill does not have any submissions on his record. Israel does not have any submissions on his record, right? Like Leon Edwards as well. Like I think only one in the UFC. Yeah, there's only been one submission from all the champions in the UFC, which is Leon Edwards' submission victory over Albert Tumanov. And he didn't want to take a chance at the guy who was a good boxer. Just took him down, strangled him in the third round. Like just an easy win. But my point still stands, right? Like a majority, 75% of the men's divisions, 80% of the men's divisions, something like that, are kickboxers, right? Who ply their trade on the feet, and who'd rather bang it out with you than sort of go to the ground and like engage in takedowns and stuff. I think the only time Izzy has ever tried to take anyone down was against Pereira. That's it. So if you think about it, right, it's not like these guys haven't fought like defensively savvy grapplers, or sorry, defensively savvy strikers or grapplers and things like that. Like they fought very dominant grapplers. Alexander Volkanovski's last second guillotine escape and triangle escape at the hands of Brian Ortega is testament to how good his ground skills are, right? You don't just become a good ground fighter just like that. You've got to learn the craft. You've got to understand the small intricacies of how people set things up. And his work with Craig Jones is also really, really helps. The same with Israel. Like their submission defense is excellent. Israel's only losses are by decision. And even when Jan took him down, he didn't give him any space. He's just like, I'm going to hold this motherfucker down. That's it. And with Pereira, well, he's fucking hands of stone, man. Like, dude's the scariest people on the planet. And Israel still fucking took it to him in the second fight, right? Like, so you're looking at this renaissance of the kickboxer in mixed martial arts right now. And I don't know where this is going to go and like how it's going to turn out, like in terms of the cycle. But I think the next, like in terms of like early predictor of what style it might sort of be the dominant style in mixed martial arts. I think guys like Hamza Chimaev, Ikram Aliskerov, Bo Nickel, Ilya Tupuria, those guys, fucking insane, incredibly good grapplers. Ilya Tupuria is an incredibly good grappler. I mean, his submission of Bryce Mitchell is incredible. Like, and even his guy's got fucking bombs in his hands as well. Like if you look at just even the contenders, right? Like light heavyweights contenders are Yuri Prohachka, ex-champion kickboxer, Alex Pereira, kickboxer. In terms of middleweight, Robert Whittaker, relatively decent kickboxer. So you're looking at a good mixture of grapplers and strikers. But I think like at the end of the day, if I could predict one style that would dominate in a little bit, it could be maybe the striking arts are going to have a few more years in the spotlight, and then you have these like superb dominant grapplers who understand like rides and wrist control and holding people up against the cage and moving them into open space and holding them down on the ground, making it more difficult to get up, etc., etc. That could be the dominant skill set. Guys like Bo Nickel, if he's successful, maybe manages to win a championship, you are you will probably see more like guys who just fail to hit the Olympic mark. You're gonna see a lot more guys like that in MMA. Although the fucking UFC doesn't pay, man. Jesus, like it's one of the worst when it comes to payments that way. Like, hopefully they give fighters a cut of their profits, and you're gonna see people who like elite athletes, guys like who would have instead gone to the NFL or the NBA, come into MMA. That's always been the hope, right? Like, I mean, yeah, sure, we got Greg Hardy, but it's fucking Greg Hardy we're talking about. We're not talking about like elite athletes. Hopefully that happens soon enough. But for now, I think the eventual reign of the kickboxer will come to an end. But for right now, these guys are standing on top of the mountain, right? Like, so give me your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What the next dominant style in mixed martial arts, the dominant meta is going to be. Also, this is my first video, so my goal is to sort of grow this channel to maybe 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't think that's an unrealistic goal. So if you do see it, please share, comment, criticize, whatever, talk shit, do whatever you guys want. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.